I feel like a freak in social settings. I always have, and I likely will continue to. I really recharge and feel my best alone in peace and quiet. Actually, this is a perfect time to address the elephant in the room. I am sitting at this beautiful lake in Switzerland. My name is Danae. I'm super excited about today's yap. I'm going to unpack how I've come to accept my freak aura and actually how I've used it as an advantage to create the life that I desire. It's actually the reason why I'm able to sit at this lake and make this video right now for you. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, you should probably keep watching here, but you can listen on Spotify. It's always linked in the description as well. So yeah, I don't really experience FOMO when it comes to social settings because I really love being in my mind, unpacking patterns, writing, peace and quiet. That is peak existence for me. And it's not because I don't like people. I do like people and I love intimate moments with friends. I thrive more so in smaller intimate groups with maybe 3 or 4, maybe up to 10 people. But anything bigger than that, the freak aura, it starts to pop out. And maybe I should define that. Basically, the freak aura is just kind of shutting down or feeling really uncomfortable, awkward, freakish, shy, and unpleasant, maybe even sometimes miserable and bitchy in social settings. And there's a tension and conflict there because you don't want to show up that way, but it just happens. This energy, this aura, this energy just comes out every single time. On top of that, I have an RBF, resting bee face. And when I was younger, I would definitely get a little bit more tense and nervous. Now I don't get as tense and nervous, shout out ashwagandha, but I don't really care to man the room or play into the human dynamics of bigger social settings. You'll notice when you step back and you're more of an introvert and pattern recognizer like me that there are a lot of human games being played in these social interactions and you really have to make an effort. I just don't really have the energy for it. I never have, even as a kid. And to make it worse, a lot of people don't really understand. And for my parents, God bless them, because I know they had really pure intentions. They would get really frustrated with me after social events with family or friends. You know, why do you act like that? You act like you don't want to be there. You act so miserable. This was such a nice event or place or whatever. You don't talk to anybody, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? I would go and I would really try and make an effort, but there was always a big block. And then on top of that, I didn't like that. I guess what felt to be my true nature was being critiqued. So it never changed and it would just be a constant argument, and it made me feel like even more of a freak because I was like, why am I that odd black sheep that just can't seem to socialize and love and actually enjoy socializing like everyone else? Nothing they said ever worked. But I guess the positive thing that came out of that was I was constantly trying to figure out what was wrong with me, which then allowed me to eventually come to see me being more introverted and preferring to be by myself as a strength and leaning into that more, which now has allowed me to feel really confident in this makeup that I believe I have. And now I can also make this video and share it with you because I wish I had something like this back then as well. If you've never listened to me before, I'm not a fan of labeling yourself. However, I do think that labels can help you. So obviously I would say that I'm more introverted for sure. And another layer that helped me really understand that I'm introverted was that I would not only hate being in the social settings, but I would literally feel mentally and sometimes even physically exhausted and drained after them. That was a big wake up call for me because I knew that wouldn't happen to an extroverted person. In fact, I would hear extroverted people say, oh yeah, I get so much energy in big crowds, being around people, da-da-da-da. More than like 2 social events or things in a week can take a lot out of me. Even just understanding that has helped me set up protocols to be able to show up as my best self and then feel like my best self afterwards as well. I also want to say that there was a period in my angsty teen years where I thought, I'm just so misunderstood. People don't get me. I kind of leaned into the victim mentality a little bit, but then there would always be tension because coping is not my nature. So the big reframe for me was acknowledging that this was actually my advantage in life. I would realize that whenever I was in my introvert element at a place like this, but at the time I would be in my childhood bedroom, journaling, writing, thinking. The life that I'm living now, really, the topics that I discuss, people often ask, so do you have book recommendations? I mean, I've read a few books on the self-development stuff, but really they've all come from within. And it's not some new knowledge. I'm just making the most out of my time, out of my little introvert sessions and think deeply about things. And I would eventually get to a place place that felt like, oh, this feels like this is the answer. I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this. And then I would act it out in my lived experience. So anyways, realizing that it was my advantage was step one. For any of you who haven't thought of it this way yet, your freak aura, your awkwardness, your kind of distaste being in social settings, your introvertedness can be your advantage. Whatever you prefer to do, however you prefer to recharge, where you really thrive, where you feel like you're in flow state, lean into that more. And don't make people who don't understand your makeup make you feel poorly about yours, because we're all here for a different reason. So the first order of business for me was actually gaining skills. I decided to learn how to socialize better. What were people in the room who people like to be around? Owning the room, seem to be happy, seem to be socializing well, doing. Start to practice that. I definitely did that. It worked out for me because at the time I went to university, which is a big open social experiment, truthfully. So I was able to practice and I got really well. I think a lot of people who met me in university might be surprised that I felt this way. I think I did a good job with learning this skill. So something I've learned to do is in big settings, not be afraid to go up to people, maybe smaller groups or one person, get to know them, chat, have a little regular 1-2 conversation and be a little jokey and be a little goofy. I always crack a joke and that helps to lighten the mood. It makes people feel chill about you and they may introduce you to their friends or someone else they know might come in. And then that kind of creates a ripple effect. So that's kind of the method. Basically, not being afraid of being alone, going up to people, cracking jokes, creating conversation with people that doesn't feel robotic, because that's a big part. I really despise small talk that's meaningless. I love to get to know a person. So if I want to get to know a person and the dynamic is usually small talk, I can take radical responsibility and I can own the conversation and ask questions that I'm interested in. I find that a lot of people are often caught off by the type of questions I ask. I may ask, do you watch YouTube videos while you eat? If they do, I might ask them what they watch, what they prefer. I love to ask whether they have siblings because I'm an only child and I think that influenced who they are as a person. And those kind of questions are a little bit personal, but not too personal where they might think it was weird. I've never had anyone really push back and people love to talk about themselves as well. So anyways, moving on to the big unlock, which was, okay, I've now learned how to socialize. Yay, we're normal. But the freak aura comes out here and there, but I still don't prefer these social settings. I prefer being alone. I love being introverted and I recharge there. So then I thought, wait, maybe that is my advantage. And that's really the point of this message today. Definitely keep watching. I mean, the view is eating me up. Literally, it's beautiful. That's one reason too. But another reason too is because I'm going to break down practically what you can do to make the most out of your advantage, being a little introverted freak. So I realized that the same people that might have looked at me weird in social settings, I remember going to a party with some cousins when I was maybe 21 and it was a typical house party and I was just feeling so overstimulated and honestly annoyed that I was there. So I went to the corner and I was just watching people, but that was my element. I wasn't then enjoying looking at everyone have fun and just being happy that I was not there in that crowd with them. And I remember my cousin just came up to me and looked at me and she said something along the lines of, oh, you interesting character or something like that. And I knew that she was referring to the energy, but it was like, I need this. And yeah, I just have a lot of those moments that made me realize, damn, maybe I am a little bit weird, but the same people that might think I'm a little bit off or weird in those settings were also the same people that really trusted my opinion and valued me outside of that. They knew that I was very level-headed. My head was screwed on tight. And the only reason it was that way was because in my quiet time, in my element, I was a writer. I was someone who was unpacking life. And that was my advantage because oftentimes if you're getting energy from socializing a lot, you're going to be socializing a lot and you're not in your mind as much. So for us, I think that's the big unlock. And it might not be that you are the most level-headed, screwed-on person either. Maybe you are autistic and you have these special interests. Lean into those because ultimately that's what makes you unique. And again, that's the main thing that I want to get across today. So I fully claimed this outsider role in my life, leaned into it. The first thing I did, I started writing a lot. I would write blogs on anything that came to my mind. In my quiet time, sometimes I posted them publicly. What I realized was that then became an outlet for me. And because I posted it publicly, people started to read it and then gain respect for me and maybe even understand me a little bit more. And then now those writings have turned into short form videos on TikTok. And today there are these longer form videos to thousands of you on YouTube, which is absolutely insane. But what I'll say is that it doesn't have to be public. I think as long as you have an outlet to let your interests and thoughts out, it automatically will make you feel a little bit more confident. I think what happens is you feel like a freak and then you kind of turn away from the things that make you you because you feel like a freak, and then you feel more insecure and weird. But if you believe that your makeup is your advantage, you lean into them and then you allow yourself to have an outlet publicly or privately, you'll feel confident to know, hey, this is not my playground. The social settings are not my playground. My playground is here. So when I'm in my playground, I'm going to take it seriously. I'm going to obsess over it and I'm going to put it out into the world in some way. I think if you have nothing to lose, definitely my take is to make the most out of social media and put it out there. I think there's a lot of people who can relate from your work, your thoughts, your ideas. I've obviously seen that happen in action over years, trying different things in different ways. You can do the same thing too. I've been able to also monetarily benefit from it because I started to use the blogs and short form TikTok as an outlet to share my thoughts. I realized I really wanted to freelance, and then I started freelance marketing, and I used that same platform to then talk about freelance marketing, which was all based off copywriting, which was the outlet that I use writing with a few extra layers so it meets the fundamental criteria of copywriting. And today, I'm a multi-six-figure freelancer. I literally have goosebumps saying this. I cannot believe that I'm sitting here right now in Switzerland. I'm on a month-long trip right now, but my whole life feels like a trip. I'm not going to lie to you because I just work and travel anywhere I want. I'm Canadian, but I live in London, and I just go to different cities and work like 2-3 hours a day and do stuff like this, go on hikes like this. I also have this YouTube stuff now so I can film a video here that also then gets to encourage and help other people. I have a community and education program called She Freelances that I recently started where I'm able to help women also achieve this, and they're often similar to me in that sense where they're introverted. They have their niche interests, they have other passion projects they want to partake in, and freelancing can allow them to do that. All that to say that the ripple effect from just kind of finding an outlet that then gave me a little bit of confidence and then publicly posting it changed my life. You don't have to do it, but I do encourage you to, because that actually, now when I think back, the freak aura is the reason that I live the life that I live today. So practically, what that could look like is if you're very interested in a specific thing, or you have a lot of deep thoughts about things, when you're in your element, whatever is coming up or the thoughts you have, just start putting them out somewhere, whether it's on a literal notebook. This is where I write all of these videos that I make. Anytime I have a thought, I just write it down first in my notes app because I usually have my phone nearby, and then I immediately put it on this paper because I'm a paper and pen girl, and I've always had a notebook like this where I was able to do that. And then I would also share them with people. So it actually became a beautiful feedback loop in social settings, because then I had the reframe that, oh, this is my advantage and this is not necessarily my playground, and I'm leaning into my little introverted brain dump periods where I'm alone with myself. Then in social settings, when I'm using the social skills that I gained, I'm asking interesting questions and people think, oh, this girl seems like a little charismatic. I'm also able to then share this knowledge with them, these thoughts, these ideas. For you, that you might be into math, you might be into science, you might have been creating a cool project where you did this one particular thing that's super niche, You can then share that. And as I said, people will start to respect you for it, because people respect when you take action and you put things into practice. It's kind of like how people view someone who looks super fit, because people are always like, oh, with Ozempic, everyone's going to be skinny. But there's a difference between someone who's fit and someone who's just thin. You can tell they've had to execute a lot of discipline to eat healthy and to work out. It's a different look, and you automatically, without them having to say anything, respect that. So if you're living your life as an introvert, taking advantage of being an introvert and taking the things that are in your mind and actually creating them into something, and then being able to talk about them and show them in social settings, which then creates an easier social environment for you, because people will then start to ask you questions and you can actually be talking about something you're really interested in, and you can see how it can expand and go on and on. So yeah, that's it. I can definitely do a part 2, maybe expand a bit more. If you think I didn't hit on something enough, let me know in the comments. Leave a pink ribbon / bow emoji in the comments. If you've watched all the way to the end, I just want you to know that the same traits that you feel alienate you are actually what make you unique and special. And it's corny because everyone says it so meaninglessly, but there's actually a lot to it. And I hope that this maybe shined a new light on that and gave you a little bit, even if it didn't, maybe you knew all of this, but maybe it just motivated you a bit and gave you a bit more confidence to lean into things and put things that you think about or want to create out there, actually start creating them, actually start putting them into the world. That will give you more confidence and make you feel like the things that alienate you are actually special, because they actually exist and you actually did this special thing. By the way, I literally did hike in my hiking boots and rain jacket in the rain to get here when the rain stopped and the sun was out again. 50 minutes. So YouTube has this new feature where you can hype the video, and it's only for smaller creators. So if you are thankful for this view and that I've done this hike so we could yap about this today, then hype the video so it can rank, and also so more of us introverted little freaks can feel happy and confident.